Complete summary with moral stories by James Clear. The core idea: small changes, remarkable results. Atomic Habits teaches that success doesn't come from massive dramatic changes. It comes from tiny 1% improvements done consistently. Your habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Concept 1. The aggregation of marginal gains. 1% better every day, the lesson. If you get 1% better each day for a year, you'll end up 37 times better. If you get 1% worse each day, you'll decline nearly to zero. Small habits make a big difference over time. Hand. Moral story: the bamboo tree and the farmer. In a small village in China, there lived a farmer named Wei. He was a hard-working man who had heard stories of the magical Chinese bamboo tree. People said that if you planted its seed and nurtured it faithfully, it would one day grow taller than any other plant in the forest. Wei planted the seed with great hope. He watered it every morning before sunrise, fertilized the soil every week, and protected the patch from weeds and animals. Days passed, weeks passed, a whole month went by. Nothing grew, not even a tiny green sprout peeked through the soil. His neighbors laughed. "You've been tricked, Wei. Nothing is growing there. Plant wheat instead, at least you'll eat." But Wei said nothing. He simply went back to watering the invisible seed. 6 months passed, still nothing. A full year went by. No bamboo, no sign of life above the ground. His wife gently suggested he give up and use the land for something else. His children thought he had gone mad, but every single morning, Wei returned to the patch, knelt down, and watered the soil. In the second year, nothing. Third year, nothing. Fourth year, not a single sprout. Then, in the fifth year, something extraordinary happened. A tiny green shoot broke through the surface. Wei's heart leapt with joy, but what happened next was almost unbelievable. In just 6 weeks, that bamboo grew over 90 feet tall, towering above the village, shading the fields, its roots so deep and strong that no storm could knock it down. People came from far and wide to see it. They asked Wei, "How did you grow it so fast?" Wei smiled and said, "I didn't grow it in 6 weeks. I grew it in 5 years. All those years when nothing was visible, the bamboo was building roots deep underground, roots so strong that they could support something magnificent. If I had stopped watering even once, it would have died underground, and I would never have known how close I was." The moral: your habits are like bamboo roots. Every book you read, every workout you complete, every skill you practice, even when you see no visible results, is building a foundation underground. The results are delayed, but they are certain. Don't judge your progress by what's visible. Judge it by your consistency. The breakthrough comes to those who never stop watering. Concept 2. Forget goals, focus on systems. The lesson: goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. Winners and losers often have the same goals. What separates them is their systems. Moral story: 2 archers and the tournament. In the kingdom of Rajveer, a great archery tournament was announced. The winner would be appointed as the royal guard, a prestigious honor. 2 young archers, Arjun and Vikram, both dreamed of winning. Arjun was obsessed with the goal. He hung a banner in his room: "I will win the tournament." Every night, he visualized himself holding the trophy. He told his family and friends about his upcoming victory. He read books about past champions and studied their techniques mentally. Vikram said nothing about winning. Instead, he woke up every morning at 5 a.m. and shot 200 arrows before breakfast. He kept a journal, recording which arrows went left, which went right, what wind conditions affected his aim, how his breathing changed his accuracy. He fixed his grip slightly each week, adjusted his stance each month. He didn't talk about winning, he just built his daily system. 200 arrows, journal, adjust, repeat. The month before the tournament, Arjun trained intensely. He pushed himself hard for 30 days, trying to make up for months of just dreaming. Vikram didn't change anything, he just kept his daily system. On tournament day, both archers stood at the line. Arjun's hands trembled with the pressure of his dream. He thought of the banner, the glory, the trophy, and his arrows flew wide. Vikram simply did what he had done every morning for months. His breathing was calm. His grip was familiar. His body knew what to do. It had done it thousands of times. Arrow after arrow hit the mark. Vikram won. As they celebrated, someone asked him, "Were you aiming to win the whole time?" Vikram shook his head. "I was aiming to shoot well. Every single morning. The winning took care of itself." Arjun looked at his own hands and understood. He had spent a year wishing for the destination. Vikram had spent it perfecting the journey. The moral: goals give you direction, but systems give you progress. A person who sets a goal to get fit will fail if they have no daily system. A person who builds a system of walking 30 minutes every morning will naturally become fit, without the daily anxiety of whether they're there yet. Don't fall in love with the outcome. Fall in love with the process. The score takes care of itself when you take care of the practice. Concept 3. Identity-based habits. Become the person, not just the goal, the lesson. Most people try to change their outcomes, but the most effective change begins at the identity level. Don't say, "I want to run a marathon." Say, "I am a runner." Every action becomes a vote for the person you believe you are. Moral story: the shepherd who became a scholar. In a dusty village in Rajasthan, there was a young shepherd boy named Mohan. He had never gone to school. His days were spent herding goats across dry hills under the blazing sun. He could not read. He could not write. People called him just a shepherd, and he believed them. One day, a kind teacher passed through the village and offered free lessons. Mohan sat at the back, embarrassed, sure he was too old and too dumb to learn. But the teacher looked at him and said, "What do you want to be?" Mohan thought and said, "I don't know. I'm just a shepherd." The teacher shook his head. "No, you are a student. Say it." Mohan was puzzled. "But I haven't learned anything yet." "That doesn't matter. A student is someone who learns, not someone who already knows. You are a student from this moment. Believe it first, then act on it." Mohan reluctantly repeated, "I am a student." Something shifted inside him. That night, instead of sleeping after dinner, he lit a small oil lamp and traced letters in the dust. The next day, he woke early and traced more. He started seeing himself differently. A student reads, so he borrowed books. A student asks questions, so he stopped being afraid to ask. A student practices, so he practiced every single night by the lamp. 3 years later, Mohan could read fluently, write beautifully, and was helping the village children with their schoolwork. 5 years later, he passed the district examination and became a teacher himself. 10 years later, he was the headmaster of the village school. People asked him how he had transformed so completely from a simple shepherd. He said, "The teacher told me to change who I believed I was, before I changed what I did. Once I believed I was a student, every action of a student came naturally. I didn't have to force myself to study. Students study, that's who I was." The moral: identity is the foundation of behavior. When you say, "I'm trying to quit smoking," every cigarette is a battle. When you say, "I'm not a smoker," that's not who I am. The decision is already made. Cast votes for the identity you want to become with every small action. Each time you choose the salad, you vote for "I am a healthy person." Each time you open the book, you vote for "I am a learner." Over time, the votes stack up, and you become exactly who you decided to be. Concept 4. 1. Make it obvious. Cue. 2. Make it attractive. Craving. 3. Make it easy. Response. 4. Make it satisfying. Reward. Moral story: the monk and the morning bell. In an ancient monastery high in the mountains of Tibet, hundreds of monks lived and prayed. But one monk, Brother Tenzin, struggled terribly with his morning meditation practice. Every morning he intended to meditate at dawn, but he would oversleep or get distracted or tell himself, "I'll do it tonight." Years passed and his practice remained weak. The head monk, a wise old man named Dorje, watched Tenzin with patience. One day he called Tenzin to his chamber. "Tell me," Dorje said, "where do you sleep?" "In my cell, master." "And when you wake, what do you see first?" my blanket, the ceiling. Then I think about breakfast. Dorje nodded slowly. Here is what you will do. Tonight, place your meditation cushion directly in front of your door, so that when you open your eyes, the first thing you see is the cushion. You cannot leave your cell without stepping over it. Make it obvious. Then, Dorje continued, I want you to remember that every monk who meditates this morning will join you in peace. You will not be alone. You will be part of our brotherhood. Make it attractive. Begin with just 5 minutes, Dorje added. Not 1 hour, not 30 minutes, 5. Sit on the cushion, close your eyes, breathe 5 times, that is all. Make it easy. And finally, after each morning that you meditate, place a small stone in this bowl. He handed Tenzin a clay bowl. Watch the bowl fill up, never miss twice. Make it satisfying. Tenzin bowed and followed the instructions. The next morning, he stepped out of bed and nearly fell over his cushion. He sat, he breathed 5 times, he placed a stone in the bowl. The morning after, the same, and the morning after that. Within 2 weeks, 5 minutes had grown to 20. Within a month, he was the first monk awake in the monastery. Within a year, Brother Tenzin was leading the morning meditation sessions for newer monks. When visitors asked who the most disciplined monk was, every brother pointed to Tenzin, the man who had once barely managed to get out of bed. The moral: motivation is unreliable. Discipline built through environment design is far more powerful. Make the good habit impossible to miss, obvious. Connect it to something you care about, attractive. Reduce it to its smallest form, easy. And reward yourself for doing it, satisfying. Remove friction from good habits. Add friction to bad ones. Your environment shapes your behavior far more than your willpower ever will. Concept 5. The plateau of latent potential. Never give up in the valley, the lesson. People get frustrated when their habits don't produce visible results quickly, but results are often hidden until a critical threshold is crossed. James Clear calls this the plateau of latent potential, the long flat stretch before the breakthrough. Moral story: the river that carved the mountain long ago, in the hills of the Western Ghats, a tiny stream was born from a spring hidden in the rocks. It was the smallest, weakest stream anyone had ever seen, barely a trickle between stones. Nearby, a great boulder sat in its path. "You will never move me," the boulder rumbled. "I am made of the hardest stone. Thousands of rivers have tried. None have succeeded." The stream said nothing. It simply flowed, slowly, patiently, day after day. In the first year, the boulder didn't budge. In the 5th year, there was a tiny hairline crack, invisible to the eye. The boulder laughed. "A crack? That is nothing." In the 10th year, the crack deepened. In the 20th year, water seeped through. Villagers passing by shook their heads. That poor stream, it wastes its energy against what cannot be moved. But the stream kept flowing. It had no choice. Flowing was simply what it was. In the 50th year, the boulder split cleanly in two, and in the next 10 years, the stream carved a passage through the mountain, a gorge so magnificent that travelers came from distant lands to marvel at it. What had once been a trickle was now a rushing river. The valley it carved became fertile farmland, sustaining thousands of families for generations. People told the story of the stream, not as a story of a river cutting through rock, but as a story of patience, of continuing when no one believed, of trusting the process even when the results were invisible for decades. The moral: every person who has ever tried to change a habit has experienced the plateau of latent potential, the discouraging stretch where you do the work but see no results. The ice cube sits at 25 degrees Fahrenheit, then 26 degrees Fahrenheit, then 27 degrees Fahrenheit. Nothing happens. Then at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, it melts. All the effort before the melting point wasn't wasted. It was essential. Never judge your habits by today's results. Judge them by the direction they're moving you. The breakthrough is always closer than you think, but only for those who refuse to stop. Concept 6. Habit stacking. Chain new habits to existing ones. The lesson: use the formula. After I, current habit, I will new habit. Chain behaviors together to build powerful routines. Hush. Moral story. The goldsmith's chain. In the city of Jaipur, there was a master goldsmith named Ratan who was famous for crafting the most intricate jewelry in the land. Kings sent him orders, merchants begged for his work, but there was one thing Ratan wanted desperately: to learn to read and write, something he had never been taught. A young teacher came to him and said, "I can teach you, but you must practice every day." Ratan sighed. "Teacher, my days are full. I wake, I eat, I sit at my bench, I work gold until evening, I pray, I sleep. There is no empty time." The teacher smiled. "Then we will not find empty time. We will borrow existing time." Together they built a chain. Each morning, Ratan already made his tea, a habit of 20 years. The teacher said, "After you make your tea, open your writing book for 10 minutes. The tea is your trigger. The writing is your new habit." Ratan agreed. It felt almost too simple. 10 minutes of writing became easy. Then the teacher added, "After your midday meal, read 3 lines aloud, just 3. After prayer, Ratan would review 1 new word. These were not empty slots. They were hooks on the existing nails of his day. Within 6 months, Ratan could read the names of his clients. Within a year, he could write his own invoices. Within 3 years, he was writing letters to distant merchants in his own hand, something he had dreamed of his entire life. His apprentices asked how he had found the time. Ratan held up a gold chain and said, "Each link depends on the one before it. I didn't add new links to empty air. I added them to links already there." The moral: you don't need more time. You need better sequencing. Every existing habit is an anchor point. Attach your new behavior to it like a chain link. After I brush my teeth, I will floss 1 tooth. After I sit at my desk, I will write 1 sentence. The existing habit provides the cue. The new behavior becomes the response. Over time, the chain grows strong enough to change your entire day. Final closing. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. James Clear, Atomic Habits. Each story above carries the same soul. Transformation is not an event. It is a direction. Choose your direction 1 small habit at a time.